A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to StudyIQ English. I'm apologetic for the delay today because of some technical glitch, because of some poor connection at my side. Sorry, everybody. A very good morning. Welcome to StudyIQ and welcome to the Hindu news analysis class with me. I am Saumya, and like every day, you and I shall look at UPSC relevant articles from the Hindu newspaper, New Delhi edition. Now, I had promised on Saturday that I shall be giving you a big surprise on Monday, but then I'm running into some technical glitch today. So let's postpone that surprise for tomorrow morning, and I'm sorry about that as well. So do bear with me due to this some technical fault at my side. And now let's look at 15th December 2025, the Hindu newspaper New Delhi edition. Before I show you the topics of the day, a very warm welcome to dear Prasad, to dear Kojumba. Very good morning, dear. Very good morning, Saraswati, Priyamvada, Priyanshu aspirant, and yes, and Anurag and Rishi and Ramu. Very, very good morning, my dear, each one of you. Most welcome to the platform. There are a few more names with code names. A very warm welcome to you as well. And now, as other aspirants join us, let's quickly see what's the agenda for today's discussion. Now, today we have a kind of newspaper where, if you look at the breaking news, if you look at the headlines are not many, but the news articles that we have are very deep. For example, today there is a very small article in the paper. It's very easy to miss that article if we do not analyze it constitutionally. This article is coming from how President Ms. Draupadi Murmu has rejected the mercy plea of a man who is convicted of a rape crime against POCSO. He has offended a child. He is a criminal under POCSO Act, and today our president has refused to give him mercy. That's a very interesting constitutional article. Let's look at that. And at the same time, there are other important articles like, for example, what about methane pollution in India? Then there is another article about in India, how are we foreseeing the right to speech? I know we have spoken about right to speech in the past too many times, but today also the front editorial article, the main editorial article talks exactly about that. And then we have some more to discuss regarding Thailand-Cambodia conflict. Indian Navy has commissioned another new very, very crucial helicopter. So all those are the news articles for the day. Let's have a look at them one by one, beginning from the editorial page. That's page number 6. I'm writing here editorial. So now let's have a look at the first article. But if you ask me the key highlight of today's newspaper, then it is definitely about the president's power to grant mercy or to grant relief. Also, how is the power of the president in case of commuting or giving mercy to death sentence different from that of governor? That's a very important constitutional article today. Yes, very good, Anurag. And that's a very important article. Absolutely. Yes, that's true, Ramu. Back from 2012. So we need to look at this very crucial issue for GS paper 2. And before we reach that spot, let's quickly have a look at the first article for the day. Very, very good, Avinash. That's exactly what we will talk about. Beginning with the first editorial article for the day, page number 6, we are looking at how courts in India, the Supreme Court of India and the High Courts in India, they have to protect, they have to safeguard free speech. They are nobody to regulate free speech because in India, in our country, it is our constitution. India's revered honorable constitution that clearly says that if Article 19(1)(a) talks about the right to speech, the freedom of speech, then there are only about 8 restrictions under Article 19(2), under which we can cancel or take away the right to free speech and expression. Apart from that, we cannot snatch or abridge somebody's right to free speech and expression. That's exactly what this article talks about. Let's quickly see what's the agenda for this article right here. In the meantime, a very good morning to Anurag, to Jyoti, to Avinash, Sumit and Monica and Saurav, as well as anybody else who's joined us. Yeah, okay, so to all of you for joining this session. All right. Yes, the Karnataka controversy. Yes, Avinash, absolutely you're right. Absolutely. So now let's have a look at the first article today, okay? What are we looking at? What's the core issue of this editorial? The frontline editorial. The core issue is that in India, in our country, a very good morning, my dear Eric, in our country, freedom to speech is a pillar of democracy. So, whenever you talk about democracy, we all know that in democracy, there is a clear cut segregation of power and authority between executive, legislature, then there is judiciary, then there is a fourth pillar of democracy called the media. And the most important cornerstone, the most important foundation of any democracy in the world. Now, India being the largest and one of the oldest democracy in the world, one of the clear-cut mandates of our democracy is freedom of speech, the right to free speech and expression. All my students understand that yes, we are looking at Article 19, 1A of the Indian Constitution. Yes, it's a cornerstone of civil society. Absolutely, Avinash. Good morning, Iba and Rahul and Rajneeshwar. Good morning, dear. This is what we are talking about. Very good, Avinash. This is the fifth pillar of Indian democracy. What? The right to free speech and expression, Article 19, 1A. Today, we realize that this is absolutely under threat. Why? Because traditionally, if you look at history, the threat to right to free speech and expression would always come from either the executive or the legislature. Who in India has the authority to cancel, to interfere in the right to free speech and expression? It is the parliament. It is the government. Typically, the executive and legislature used to come and interfere in right to free speech and expression. But recently, there is a change of attitude in India. And the recent change shows that now Supreme Court has displayed a lot of judicial activism, a lot of judicial interference when it comes to the right to free speech and expression. There was a recent case regarding a very famous YouTuber, content maker, known as Ranveer Allahabadia. The article says it was during the case between Ranveer Allahabadia versus the Union of India 2025. We are looking at Ranveer Allahabadia versus Union of India. During this case, it became very, very clear that of late, recently, the Supreme Court of India has also started interfering when it comes to the right to free speech and expression, especially with regards to online content regulation. Especially with regards to online content regulation. What were the Supreme Court observations during this case of Ranveer Singh Allahabadia that has caused so much controversy? It all started on November 7th. November 7th, 2025, the Supreme Court said that we need exclusive, neutral, autonomous bodies which can regulate online content. We cannot depend on self-styled bodies. Nobody has authority to determine whether we can control free speech in online media or not. We need a separate body to do that. It has to be an autonomous body that can look into these complaints. And the Supreme Court, therefore, asked the central government to publish clear-cut draft guidelines. To publish what? To clear-cut publish draft guidelines and seek public opinion on that. However, online content regulation was not the original issue here. The original issue was about the fact that there was an FIR, first investigation report, that was put against these many online content creators, including Mr. Ranveer Singh Allahabadia and many more people who used to work in various different channels, who had propagated a content that was allegedly against public morality and sensitivity of values in India. There was an FIR against them. The Supreme Court only had to see whether the FIR is legitimate or not, but the Supreme Court went one more step ahead, creating what is called as judicial activism. I have explained you earlier as well. Previously, in many cases, Supreme Court has acted with silence. What? Silence. And what is that called? Judicial restraint. Remember, we had spoken about it. The Kamlesan case. Yes, the major Kamlesan case in army, in military. Supreme Court acted with restraint. Judicial restraint. In this case, yes, very good, Anurag. There were so many people. right? Mr. Ranbir Singh Allahabadia, Sanmai Raina, there was a lady, so many content creators were coming under scanner here. They had outraged public morality in India. There was an FIR against them. Supreme Court wanted to, it had to tell whether it's legitimate or not, but Supreme Court went one step ahead. Supreme Court acted with judicial activism. It interfered in what? In the right to free speech and expression of online content creators. What are the existing legal frameworks in India that control free speech and expression? Let's have a look at them from a legal perspective. Then we shall look at constitutional perspective. We all know by now, all my students I know understand the fact that if Article 19(1)(a) gives you free speech and expression, it is Article 19(2) that under the Constitution gives you 18 conditions under which your freedom of speech can be curtailed. These are called as reasonable restrictions. I have explained it before. Reasonable restrictions. Public morality, India's sovereignty, security, coordination, cohesion among public, insult to the values of India, national honor. All these 8 conditions are under Article 19(2). But apart from that, there are many more statutory provisions, legal provisions. One is constitutional, that's written in the Constitution, like Article 19(2), 8 conditions, reasonable restrictions. Then comes the statutory, created by law of the Parliament. What are these legal frameworks under which we control free speech and expression? Look at the screen. One, Information Technology Act 2000. There is a section called Section 67 that deals with obscenity. You cannot humiliate, insult anybody's morality, including pornography, including something that is derogatory to the women of the country. Somebody had just mentioned a while back, something similar had happened in Karnataka as well. This time, the Karnataka government had taken an action against X, the platform called X, because there was a certain issue regarding outraging a woman's respect and modesty. Then comes section 66, 66E that talk about cyber crimes and how can you violate somebody's privacy. The right to privacy in India, the Puttaswamy case, is also covered under Article 21, the right to life and liberty. Then section 66F, cyber terrorism. All these are IT Act 2000 provisions, Information Technology Act. Then there is the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita that was created in 2023 as a replacement to the existing British colonial times Indian Penal Code. Under Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, there are sections 294 to 296, broadly 5 segments that talk about obscenity. Which content is now creating obscenity, insult, and which of this will be called as a religious offense? Very recently, you have seen how the Karnataka government has tabled a law, a bill called Hate Speech and Anti-Hate Crime Act. At the same time, it has also tabled another bill recently that says you cannot do anybody's social boycott to control the activities of Khap Panchayat. All these show that in India we are acknowledging every time somebody is inciting communalism or hate crimes in India. In BNS Bharati Nyaya Sanhita, there are 5 sections, I repeat, section 294 to 296 that deal with obscenity and religious hatred crimes. Then you have information technology. Listen carefully, there is a difference. Information Technology Intermediary Guideline and Digital Media Ethics Code 2021 that also provide how the central government should control online content creators. There has to be some prior consent. Now, there are 2 things always remember. One is preventive and the other is curative. I have told you when we were talking about medical sector in India, health sector in India. Remember, I told you India is one country that spends less than 5% on GDP when it comes to health. That time I had explained you the difference between primary, secondary, and tertiary health. I also told you there are 2 things. One is preventive. Prevention is better than cure. And the other is curative. If I take some preventive actions, I may not fall sick. That's called preventive healthcare. Like yoga, good food, water, vitamin. But once somebody is already sick, There is nothing you can do to prevent it now. That's called curative. When you take medications, when you take treatment to cure your problem, right? We have spoken about this even when we discussed TB, multi-drug resistant TB in India. Now, same thing is applicable here. Under the IT 2021 Intermediary and Digital Media Ethics Code, there is a provision for preventive control. Preventive is something that happens before a crime takes place. Very, very good, Ramu. Absolutely. Yes, Kojumba, Ramu. Very, very good. Yes, Anura. Good morning, Shekhar. Isn't it? Good morning. Okay, so what are we talking about? Preventive now. So under this, central government has a right to prevent, to already create a kind of prior restraint on the content that goes online. And already this has been criticized among so many communities and countries, that India also is becoming like Russia and China when it comes to creating a surveillance society. Because in India also, under the Digital Media Ethics Code 2021, we allow our government to control online content before it is posted online. This is a preventive step that we are taking. Today we are asking a question: is it valid to take a preventive step? Should we take a preventive step? Because definitely it goes against the right to free speech and expression. Now, if somebody has done a crime, if somebody has put a very vulgar content online, hateable content online, as was done by these YouTubers who were arrested recently, the ones we are talking about, or if you insult the national honor of your country, if you put something that is derogatory to women, one thing is you are punished later for that. Then there is a separate provision called safe harbor. Social media intermediaries are protected. The people who post the content are liable for such crimes. That is called curative. It happens after the crime has been done. But if you control a content that has not even gone online, are you not trying to control free speech and expression? That's the question people are asking today. Is India becoming like Russia, China when it comes to creating a surveillance society? What are the concerns regarding Supreme Court's observation in the case of Ranbir Singh Allahabadia? Clearly, there are problems. One problem is that the court today has expanded the case and its scope to examine the regulation of content that is offensive to moral standard. What is moral standard? What is moral standard? What do you mean by moral standard? Who decides what is a morality in society? India is a polycultural country. What is offensive to one community may not be offensive to another community. So how will Supreme Court decide today? When it says that no, the Supreme Court case will also examine whether the content is morally appropriate or not, and who decides whether it's morally appropriate or not. Second, content regulation is a legislative function. I am repeating, so please listen carefully, everyone. Content regulation is a legislative function. What is that? It is a legislative function. The government and the parliament should control that. The Supreme Court has no power to control that. There was a case in the Supreme Court that was conducted in 2008. Please listen carefully. 2008. What case is that? That case is known as Common Cause versus Union of India case. I'm repeating. Common Cause versus Union of India case. I write here. Common Cause versus Union of India case. Union of India case. This is 2008. Listen carefully. In this case, the Supreme Court itself had warned that I will not solve any problem that is beyond judicial capacity. We will not focus on something that's extrajudicial. We will only focus on something that is strictly coming under judicial power. But today, we all know that the courts do not have the technical expertise that are required to understand and execute complex digital media regulation. Then why in the case of Ranbir Allahabadia did the Supreme Court cross its own function, did judicial activism, and said that we have to control the content before it goes online? With what authority did the Supreme Court declare about preventive step when it has no authority to do that? Similarly, if you look at another case from the Supreme Court, I'm writing it here, I will ask you at some point of time, so I request you to remember. 2012, there was another very famous case. I'm writing here, do remember, Sahara India Real Estate. Please listen carefully. Sahara India Real Estate. What did I say? Sahara India Real Estate versus SEBI case, 2012. What did the case say? Please understand. It is not enough to understand Keshwanand Bharti, Indra Sahni, or all these cases are not sufficient. We need to also know these cases like the Berubari case, the Bomai case, Puttaswamy case, Kamlesan case. Today I'm talking about two more cases. Common causes case 2008. Supreme Court said I am not crossing my judicial limit. I repeat, 2012. Be very careful about this one. 2012. Focus please. 2012. Sahara India Real Estate Corporation versus SEBI case. The Supreme Court said it is not good to do pre-censorship. Any restriction that is created on free speech and expression should be exceptional, minimal, and reasonable. Supreme Court said that pre-censorship of media is not good. It was all happening during Sahara India real estate case. Why? Because the case was talking about something that is known as sub judice. I have discussed with you sub judice on Friday. Now, the existing Chief Justice of India, 53rd Chief Justice of India, Justice Surya Kant, recently made a very big statement. He said that we should control any discussion or publication about sub judice cases, cases that are still under trial. We should not create rumors about them. We have seen two examples. Sanchar Sathi app. Similarly, the 131st Constitutional Amendment, Article 240, the issue with Chandigarh, all of these were sub judice cases. And that's not okay. That's why back in 2012, during the Sahara India case, Supreme Court said it is not good to create censorship on sub judice basis. If we are putting a restriction on free speech and expression, it has to be under a very, very strict emergency situation, like it happened in India during 1975 Indira Gandhi emergency case. Otherwise, you cannot stop media from publishing what it has to. If you do pre-censorship, listen carefully, pre-censorship, if you do a prior regulation, preventive regulation of media freedom, it is invalid. It goes against the spirit of democracy in the country. So we have to see the law of proportionality. Unless there is an emergency, we cannot do that. Now, what are the constitutional limits on free speech and expression? Definitely, it's Article 19.2. There are 8 restrictions in the Constitution within which we can stop somebody's free speech and expression. But these are only 8 restrictions. In 2023, a Supreme Court bench led by a judge, Justice Kaushal Kishore, clearly said, in 2023, a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court, in the Kaushal Kishore case, clearly said that there are no additional grounds except the 8 grounds mentioned in Article 19.2, under which we can control somebody's free speech and expression, and the Supreme Court will not impose any restriction, because the right to free speech and expression is a fundamental right. So in India, the Supreme Court has now acted with self-control and self-restraint many times. There was a case in 2018, the Adarsh Cooperative Housing Society case. In that, the Supreme Court said the filmmakers cannot be told to remove certain content from their movies. We cannot tell this to them. We cannot ask them to already start putting disclaimers in a movie regarding whether it is meant to misguide the public or whether it has a fictional content or anything. So Supreme Court said we are not interfering in this case. We will not tell the filmmakers to put disclaimers, because this is not a function of the Supreme Court. It is a legislative function. Statutory functions should be done. I am not going to interfere. So in the past, Supreme Court has acted with restraints so many times, but today suddenly, why do we need to create a situation where the courts are being highly active and deciding what is reasonable in digital media, what is not reasonable in digital media. There are other countries in the world like European Union, United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, that focus on content removal if the content is bad or vulgar. Nobody is doing pre-censorship except countries like China and Russia. And China and Russia are surveillance societies. They are rather dictatorial societies where there is hardly any media freedom that is existing. But in India, do we need to create the kind of situation in Russia and China? No, we don't have to. So therefore, Supreme Courts, if they conduct pre-censorship, it is definitely an erosion of free speech and expression. And the very famous writer who had written the very famous book, The Midnight Children, and so many more, The Satanic Verses, Mr. Salman Rushdie, who recently was also attacked and he has lost one eye because public was against whatever he writes. He is a victim of censorship of media. So he himself says free speech is essential to life, free speech is essential to democracy. And the courts must protect the free speech. They cannot create new restrictions because it is absolutely not a function of the court at all. It's a legislative function. And that's what this article talks about. Yes, absolutely, Anurag. That's what the Supreme Court said. We have to create a third party body. We have to create a neutral body that can control all these issues regarding digital media ethics. If we continue to fight between the court and the parliament, there is going to be no such solution that's going to happen. The media trials have to stop at some point, absolutely. Instead of making laws before it goes online, we need to create a high and severe punishment. That's a wonderful comment made by Anup. Absolutely valid. Very good. Very good, Ram. Yes, you cannot apply a preventive approach. Very, very good. That's a very healthy discussion. Very good. Well done. Quickly, let's have a look at the question now. Now, recently, even there's a movie called Dhurandhar or something. I think that's also under scanner. A lot of controversy is going about that. So every time a new movie, a new book comes, we do experience such things. It's nothing new, by the way. Okay? Yes. Very good, Anup. Australia has done that. Thank you for telling. But Bacha, remember one thing, the age is not 18. Australia has done that for under 16. Okay? Anup, thanks for the reminder. But it is under 16. Yes, aspirant. Yes. With reference to regulations of online content and the freedom of speech, look at the following statements. Bulbul has joined us. Good morning, dear. 1. The Constitution of India allows restriction on freedom of speech only on the grounds clearly, expressly mentioned under Article 19.2. Second, the Supreme Court of India has held that pre-censorship of media should be avoided except in rare and exceptional circumstances. And 3, the IT Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code 21 provide for complete self-regulation by digital media entities without any government oversight. Which of these statements are valid? Think again and read the last statement carefully. Think again and read the last statement carefully. Think again. Yes? No problem, Anup. Thanks for that reminder. Sumit Ko Jumba, Anurag, Arthia, Priyanshu, everyone's answering. Rahul has answered. Sanghamitra, good morning, dear Sanghamitra, no problem. Bulbul, Avinash have answered. Urupam has answered, but there is a confusion. Some say A, some say D. Let's break it down quickly. Which of these are valid? What about Ramu? Ramu hasn't answered. What about aspirant? Aspirant hasn't answered. What about my dear Ramu has answered. Rajnishwar has answered. Eric is answering. Aspirant is yet to answer, is it? Let's have a look quickly. Chalo. First one. The Constitution of India says there is an article called Article 19.2. And I know my students know, my children know that only 8 restrictions are existing under Article 19.2 under Constitution. Is that correct? Absolutely correct. If this is correct, B cannot be the answer. So learn to eliminate immediately. Second one, the Supreme Court of India says pre-censorship of media should be avoided in rare and exceptional, unless there is a rare and exceptional circumstances here. Absolutely. And when did the Supreme Court of India say that? I clearly told you in which court case did the Supreme Court of India say that we cannot do pre-censorship of media, even in sub-judice circumstances, until it's an exception. In which case did that happen? I just told you. Which case was that? Always remember from now onwards, it was 2012 Sahara. It was 2012 Sahara India real estate case. Sahara India real estate. From now on, nobody should forget that. Sahara India real estate case 2012 Supreme Court said, I am nobody to put moral standards on anybody, and I will not create any kind of preconditions unless it is an emergency situation. This is 2012. Do remember Sahara India case. The Ranbir Ilabadia case is a recent one. This is a controversy right now. But whether we should do pre-censorship or not was clarified by the court. We cannot do it. 2012 Sahara Ramu, very good. Yes, aspirant. Correct, Anura. Yes, Priyamvada. Very good. Second is correct. Second is correct. C cannot be the answer either. Now D. Now 3. The IT intermediary guideline and digital media ethics code provide for complete self-regulation. Is that the case? In India, what did I tell you about the digital media and ethics code 2021? Let's skip back to the previous slide. It says that central government has to control, the central government has a monitoring oversight, and therefore it is a duty of the central government to create some kind of prior restraint or control on the content that goes online. And this is why it is being criticized by people that India is becoming like Russia and China. Yes, lot of people, lot of pro-democracy workers are criticizing the IT 2021 rules known as Intermediary Guideline and Digital Media Ethics Code rules, because they feel that these rules allow the central government to have some control, some oversight on the content that goes online much before it is published, which is not a good thing to do. The EU, Australia, and America don't do that. Yes, countries like China, Russia are doing that, but we cannot create a preventive control, because in Sahara case in 2012, Supreme Court only said that it should not be done. It should not even be done in the cases which are sub judice, under trial. So then third cannot be correct, no? It doesn't allow for complete self-regulation without government oversight. It absolutely is about government oversight. And that is why it's a subject of criticism. That means third is wrong. And in that case, A should be the valid answer. Yes, very good. That's a brilliant solution by Anurag. Instead of creating a restraint, why can't we issue a clear-cut warning? And when will this be possible? This will be possible when it is non-politicized. When you give the authority to a third party, a neutral body that can control issues regarding digital media ethics. If it is under government control, it will always be a subject of political interference. I hope it's clear to everyone. Okay, Arathia, that's a beautiful comment. Thank you, my dear. Welcome to the class. What is aspirant asking? Sahara case? Bacha, in Sahara case, the Supreme Court clearly said that court is not an authority to do censorship, pre-censorship towards any filmmaker, towards any digital media content maker before it is published online. It was about whether the Supreme Court can tell filmmakers to put disclaimers much before the movie is released to the public. Supreme Court said, I am not going to get it done, because we don't allow prior judicial overreach. We don't allow that. Why should we do prior censorship? If somebody has made a mistake, if they have put something that's vulgar or obscene, we can punish them. But how can we presume that they will do something that's vulgar and obscene and punish them beforehand? Ask them and control them beforehand. We can't do that. That's not what Indian democracy stands for. And digital media is a complex mechanism. Court doesn't have an understanding of that either. Yes? Is that clear now? Very good morning, Pooja. That's completely fine, my dear Prasad. Is it clear to everyone? Rebina, Shekhar, Raja, good morning, dear. So now, aspirant, is it clear? Is the case clear to you? Always remember the case. It was about judicial restraint, just like the Kamlesan case. Yes, it's a failure of the pillar of success. Very good, Kojumba. Beautiful ethical comment made by you there. Yes, common cause case. Okay, Avinash has a doubt with the common cause case. Now, what is the common cause case therefore? Now, talking about the common cause case, it also happened a long back, and under the common cause case also, that was long back. That was 2008 actually. And the Supreme Court there said that I will not solve any problem if it is beyond judicial capacity. There are certain questions which only legislature can answer. which only Parliament can interfere in. And the courts have no right to interfere in them. Supreme Court said in 2008 in the Common Causes case that the court will never solve an issue that is beyond court's judicial capacity. So that is why today the controversy is happening that in the case of Ranbir Aluwalia, a subject like digital media, is it under the judicial capacity of the court? Yes or no? That's the problem. I hope it's clear to everyone. And thank you very much, Ramu, for that clarification. Yes, it's a beautiful thing you've said. Very good morning, Avik. Clear? Now quickly come on to the next article. This is also editorial page. Let's focus quickly. The right moment to boost India-Ethiopia ties. Now we have spoken about Indo-China, Indo-Australia, Indo-Canada, Indo-European Union, Indo-Russia, Indo-Saudi, Indo-Pakistan. We have never really investigated India-Ethiopia ties. Yes, Ethiopia was in the news last month. Why? Because of the volcano. And what kind of a volcano was that? Was it a stratovolcano or was it a shield volcano? Who has forgotten and who remembers? Here's a quick test for you. That Heli Gabi volcano. There was a big volcano eruption that happened in Ethiopia, in the Afar region of Ethiopia. Which region? Afar region of Ethiopia, which is a very, very tectonically sensitive area. The name of the volcano was Heli Gabi volcano, and it was so strong that about 12,000 kilometers the ash went up in the air, disturbing the airplanes that were flying from this area. It's a country. It's a country. You want to see the map of Ethiopia? There you are. There you are, Anurag. I will talk about the Ethiopian location also with you. Everything we will study with the map. Ethiopia is located in the Horn of Africa. Now, if you look at the whole African map, if you look at the complete map of Africa, there is a right side of Africa, the right coast that comes like a horn. That's called the Horn of Africa. And the Horn of Africa typically is associated with Somalia. The same Somalia where we associate pilots with, Somalian pilots, Somalian civil war. That's called Somalia. Ethiopia is one of the largest countries of the Horn of Africa. In the meantime, you have a look at the map. Let me talk about the Heli Gabi. Yes, very good, Anup Pooja. Brilliant. Brilliant, absolutely, Kojumba Ramu. Yes, very, very good, Shekhar. It was a shield volcano. Very good, Sanghamitra. It was a shield volcano. I told you shield volcanoes are not very tapering. They are rather flat, but they do effuse ejections. The ejections are very effuse and they spread here and there. Now, it was so strong that it went about 12,000 kilometers. If it was 12,000 kilometers, it disturbed the airplane signals also. I told you, if this ash gets caught up in the engine of the aeroplane, in the aircraft engine, it will lead to a complete failure of the cooling system, and hence it can cause the aircraft engine failure. That's why the Directorate General of Civil Aviation in India had also issued a very, very strict monitoring of the airways. Yes, that was the Heli Gabi volcano. But then that was about volcano. That was about volcano. Now we are coming back to why is Ethiopia in the news again? Ethiopia is in the news again because India and Ethiopia are now trying to reestablish their bilateral relationship. Yes, they are famous for piracy. Very good, absolutely, Avinash. Very good, very good. What's the difference between a shield and stratovolcano? Strato is when the layers of lava keep on depositing. It becomes like a composite structure. That's called strato. Strata, various layers of lava. It becomes like a cone, like a cylinder cone. Therefore, the eruption is much more loud. In shield, there is no such erect cone. It's a very flat surface. That's the difference. So the erection is not a very explosive one. It's a diffuse erection that happens. Okay, is that clear? Now let's come back. Horn means a kind of protruding structure, Priyambada, that you can see on the map here. Okay, now let's come back to the agenda. Heli Gabi volcano is past. Now let's come back to the present. Ethiopia-India relationship, what we need to look at. So here on the map, you can see Ethiopia. What is special about Ethiopia? Location is very special. Yes, Ethiopia is like an onion, kind of. Yeah, you can make your own fancy mnemonics for that. So now Ethiopia is in the Horn of Africa. Yes, it is in a situation that is very, very geopolitically important. Why is it geopolitically important? Because in 2025 beginning, there was a place in the news known as the Bab el Mandeb Strait. I repeat, the Bab el Mandeb Strait. It is a strait that is a very important choke point for global oil supply. And it is in the Red Sea. Yes, the same Red Sea where recently Russia has been given a permission by Sudan to create a port called Port Sudan on Red Sea. Russia will have its first naval base in Sudan, in Africa now, because of Sudan's permission. The same Red Sea. Yes, yes. And now we are looking at Ethiopia. The connection is very unique. Absolutely, yes. Why? Because the Horn of Africa is this peninsula here in Eastern Africa. It projects itself in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Here is the Red Sea. Here is the Gulf of Aden. Now, these are crucial lanes in the world from where trade and oil supply passes. These are brilliant places that connect the Mediterranean Sea through the Suez Canal, eventually to the Indian Ocean. So therefore, all the trade that happens between the Eastern and the Western Hemisphere is typically flowing down from the Mediterranean, the Red Sea, through Suez Canal, eventually to the Gulf of Aden, and then into the Indian Ocean. That's a very crucial area, a very strategically important area. And now Ethiopia is the largest and the most influential country located in the Horn of Africa. You can see here with its capital called Addis Ababa. Yes, Addis Ababa. If it's the largest, which other countries are called as Horn of Africa countries? These are Somalia, Eritrea, and Djibouti. Djibouti was in the news, as somebody just told, because Djibouti has very important naval bases of China and US, United States of America. Very good, aspirant. Sudan also we have studied in detail because of the big fight between Sudani armed forces and the rapid support forces. Yes, very, very good. So now let's come back to this main topic. How are India and Ethiopia trying to rebuild their relation? Now listen carefully, please. Ethiopia's population is 109 million. It is one of Africa's fastest growing economy and it has a key location in the Horn of Africa. You have just seen it's a very crucial location. Plus, Ethiopia is also the headquarter of a very important body in the world. And what is the name of that body? African Union. I repeat, listen carefully everyone. I will ask a question after that. Ethiopia is the headquarters of African Union. Yes, the same African Union that was founded in 2002. Before 2002, it used to be called as the Organization of African Unity, OAU. Organization of African Unity from 1963 onwards. In 2002, it was renamed as the African Union, a very important body that aims at promoting unity, peace, security, and social economic development of entire Africa. Ethiopia is the capital. African Union created in 2002. Yes, because Ethiopia is the capital, also Ethiopia is a very important renewable energy sector. It is known for its capacity of hydroelectricity. It's known for its capacity of rich reserves and rich and precious materials like some rare earth material. Although Ethiopia is a landlocked country, it has now tried to create a strategic autonomy by creating its access to the sea that bypasses and diversifies more entry into Ethiopia apart from Djibouti through Somalia and Eritrea. So now it's creating a direct access to sea by surpassing Somalia and Eritrea. Yes, what is the historical value of India-Ethiopia relationship? Let's understand quickly. India and Ethiopia have had centuries of relationships, especially in education. It was Indian teachers who had played a key role in Ethiopia's education system, and Ethiopia was also one of the first countries to adopt India's Pan-Africa e-network in 2007. I repeat, in 2007, Ethiopia was one of the first countries to adopt Pan-India, Pan-Africa e-network, Pan-Africa e-network from India. India and Ethiopia have a very strong tie through the IIT Delhi, Indian Institute of Technology Delhi, when it comes to online tele-education. Africa spends so much in financing education of their students who come to India for conducting their PhD, their doctorate. Lot of research students are coming. And education is also into digital learning, vocational learning, university partnership and scholarship. Recently, last month, I had told you that Africa is the continent to which now India is also expanding its PM Kusum scheme. PM Kusum scheme, solar powered irrigation scheme. Yes, at the same time, a quick question I want to ask everybody before I proceed with what today is happening between India and Ethiopia. A quick question. Is African Union, is African Union, the body created in 2002 with 55 members today, a member of the G20 or not? If yes, when did it sign for G20 membership? If no, that's okay. Quickly tell me. Is African Union a member of G20? If you say yes, then quickly let me know when did it join the G24? Did it participate in the G20 at Johannesburg in 2025? Quick question. Very good, Rahul. Yes, that's correct. Yes, Kojumba reminds us of the great Nelson Mandela. Yes, Rahul, is it a member? Yes, that's what Prasad says. It is a member. Sangamitra also says. What about other students? Yes. Bulbul, Ramu, Priyambada, Eric, is it a member? They are saying it's a member. Okay, fine. Then let's understand that African Union is a member of the G20. Now, the bigger question is, when did it join? When did it join? It joined G20 when India was presiding over the G20 summit. And when did India preside over the G20 summit in New Delhi? Quickly, what's the very good, Prasad. It was 2023 at New Delhi. Brilliant. India was the one who initiated. India was the one who initiated what? G20's membership for African Union in 2023 at New Delhi. Brilliant. Very good, everyone. Excellent, Eric, Sumedh, Rahul, Rishi. Very good. Very good, Avina. Very good. Very, very good. Yes, that's the reality. It is a member. And therefore, it also participated in the G20 summit in Johannesburg, this time in 25, the first G20 summit that this time happened in Africa. Yes. President Putin could not come because he has an arrest warrant from ICC. What is ICC? International Criminal Court, which has a right to issue private arrest warrant to individual. Not the same as ICJ. Clear? Now come back quickly. What's the relationship between India and Ethiopia today? India and Ethiopia today have agreed. Agreed for what? Let me quickly write down. Very, very good. Total 55 nations in African Union. Brilliant. US will not invite South Africa. That's what US says because US is hosting the summit next year in 26. That's correct. Now, India and Ethiopia, they are doing a deal. And what's that deal? Today, they have a massive investment in each other. Now, I will explain few words. I need you to focus. I need everyone's attention for the next 2 minutes, please. Quickly, everyone's attention on the screen. Next 2 minutes, please. What is happening today? Indian investment in Africa, Indian investment in Ethiopia in particular, has crossed $4 billion. I repeat, Indian investment in Ethiopia has crossed $4 billion. Why? Through an initiative that is known as line of credit. This is a new thing. Let's quickly learn that. Through an investment that is known as lines of credit. When was this initiated? It was initiated in 2006. I repeat, initiated in 2006, known as lines of credit. What is line of credit? Line of credit stands for Indian Development and what does line of credit stand for? Does anybody know about line of credit? In 2006, India invested in Ethiopia under lines of credit. But what is lines of credit? Let me quickly explain. So now once again, a quick focus on the screen. I'm writing something here. Please have a look. Please have a look. Very good. Yes, Rahul. Now focus, please. Lines of credit started in 2006 is coming under a broader initiative called IDEA. What? Ideas. IDEAS, ideas. What is IDEAS? IDEA stands for Indian Development and Economic Assistance Scheme. I repeat, Indian Development, Indian Development and Economic Assistance Scheme. It is a framework under which India provides lines of credit to developing countries for developmental projects. When was IDEA launched? IDEAS itself was launched during the 2000s decade, and it was significantly expanded from 2005 to 2006. Who implements that? Now remember all of that. It is implemented by the Exim Bank in India, the Export Import Bank. It is implemented under the Exim Bank of India. And what is done under IDEAS? Under IDEAS, we Indians are providing lines of credit on very cheap price. Concessional loans are given. These loans are called soft loans. I don't know if you've heard about them before, but these are called soft loans. What are soft loans? They are given at a very low interest rate and they can be repaid after a long repayment period. There is no hurry, there is no pressure. These are called soft loans. Under IDEAS, what is IDEAS? Indian Development and Economic Assistance Scheme. India provides soft loans to developing countries known as lines of credit. Yes, and who is getting these loans? African countries, then Latin American countries and South America. And who else? Small island states. Small island states. Very good, Rishi and Rahul and Eric. Yes. These are cheaper loans, soft loans at easy interest rates. So now what is new? Now, because of these lines of credit given by through the Exim Bank from India, what is happening? We are supporting industrialization, modernization, agricultural enhancement, infrastructure development and capacity in Ethiopia. Alongside, it is our benefit also because Ethiopia is a very populated country. I just told you a minute before. Ethiopia has about how many people? 109 million people. That means when we give loans to Ethiopia, we are also expanding our very good question, aspirant. When we are giving loans to India, to Ethiopia, we are also expanding our products. We are also providing concessional export products from India into Ethiopian market. That gives us more market for Indian manufactured products. Plus service enhancement. And as Rahul says, ultimately India is the voice of the global south. It also talks volumes about India's soft power potential. Is that clear? Now, looking at the situation, today Ethiopia also has a big resource base. What resource base does it have and how will it help India? Earlier, both the countries used to focus on agriculture challenges. Today, the challenges are new. Mining is a great sector. Gold, critical minerals, rare earth material. We all know that the world is hungry for rare earth material. In fact, that day somebody was asking me a question that why is Russia now creating the Port Sudan? Why does Russia want the Port Sudan in the Red Sea area in Sudan? Why? I told you because Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo, they have amazing amount of rare earth material. In fact, very often when we look at the Sudan war, very often when you look at the war in Democratic Republic of Congo also, I have explained to you the war in DRC also. The main reason why people fight war is over gold and rare earth material. In fact, if you look at documentaries and news, often in the Western media, they call the war in DRC as the gold war, the war for gold itself. It is so rich in resources, and India can benefit from all these resources with a better tie through Ethiopia. It will enable India to get raw material for Indian solar battery, India's semiconductor. Yes. Now, Indian Embassy's mining survey was conducted. It shows that today there is so much more potential in Ethiopia which India can take advantage of. But there is a major gap when it comes to implementing these projects. Mining cooperation can be the future for tomorrow, but there is so much more to be done. Now, remember when you talk about defense also, Ethiopia is among the first countries in the world to receive Indian military assistance. How? In Ethiopia, we have created a military academy in 1956 that is known as Harar Military Academy. The Harar Military Academy. It is Ethiopia's main military training center created through Indian support system, Indian finance. Indian defense teams have consistently trained the forces in Ethiopia since 2009. Today, Ethiopia needs modernization in agriculture, mining, and defense. India can provide that. India needs more raw material like rare earth material. Ethiopia can provide that. Ethiopia is a big market, evolving market. India can endorse its export sector to Ethiopia. But what do we need today? We need better implementation of these pacts, and that's why the Prime Minister is negotiating deal with Ethiopia right now. Ethiopia can also receive more cheap, cost effective, and proven defense platforms from India. Then Ethiopia is known for a good repayment. Unlike Pakistan, that has never repaid any loan to China. Finally, China is fed up of Pakistan. Ethiopia has a very good payment record. Ethiopia has always returned money to India under the IDEA loan scheme. I told about IDEA. Ethiopia has always returned money under what? Lines of credit scheme. So therefore, India can trust Ethiopia in a big way. Now, there are few more things to look at here. We all know about BRICS platform. We do or we don't. We all know about BRICS. Is Ethiopia a member of BRICS? Is Ethiopia a member of BRICS? Yes. Ethiopia's BRICS membership has now created a new platform for India and Ethiopia to negotiate. When did Ethiopia become a member of the BRICS? Ethiopia became a member of the BRICS in 2024. I'm repeating, so listen carefully. Ethiopia became a full member of BRICS in 2024 when, for the first time, BRICS expanded in a major way. But Ethiopia was not alone. Now listen carefully, everyone. Ethiopia was not alone. Ethiopia also, alongside countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Argentina, all of them had joined BRICS in 2024. Let me quickly write down here. Alongside Ethiopia, it was Iran, Saudi Arabia, then which other country? UAE and Argentina. All of these had joined BRICS in 2024. Yes, Sanghamitra Pooja, very good, Bulbul. But is Argentina today a member of BRICS? Ethiopia is. Joined in 2024, great opportunity for India. Is Argentina still a member? No, because Argentina cancelled its membership. Argentina earlier joined and then immediately opted out of the membership. Why did Argentina opt out? Why did Argentina opt out? Because Argentina today has a leader whose name is President Javier Milei. President Javier Milei. He is a very, very right-wing leader. He's extremely critical of Russia and China, and he's a pro-American leader. He's a pro-US leader. New president of Argentina. Yes, he's pro-America, and you all understand the ideological fight between BRICS and US. Yes. So therefore, he stepped out. Argentina stepped out, criticizing alignment with both China and Russia. And both China and Russia are the core members of BRICS, as Kojumba has explained. Core members of BRICS, right? So now, coming back to Ethiopia, what all investments will both the countries do? In pharmaceutical, in agro-processing, in light manufacturing and mining sector. Ethiopia has to also improve its economy, its taxation policy, its carbon regulatory mechanism, and foreign exchange availability to create confidence in Indian investors in Ethiopia. If you look at how many Indians live in Ethiopia, there is a big diaspora. We have about 2,500 people who actually live in Ethiopia, all those who are Indians, and they play a very crucial role in promoting Ethiopia's economy, manufacturing and export hub of Ethiopia. India has a duty-free trade tariff preference scheme that India extends to Ethiopia. That means India supports imports from Ethiopia, supporting Ethiopian economic growth. Today, India's Prime Minister Shri Modi is meeting Ethiopian Prime Minister Mr. Abiy Ahmed. And what will happen? They both had also recently met at the G20 Johannesburg Summit, the first G20 summit in Africa. So now we are trying to create a better bilateral relation with Ethiopia. So remember in the news, few takeaways. India-Ethiopia relation. India has a diaspora there. Always remember the ideas. The line of credit that we spoke about from 2006. Rare earth material of Ethiopia. Ethiopia's BRICS membership. India-Ethiopia alignment into various sectors. All these are case studies. Rahul is extremely happy because he's Trump's friend. So my students are so obsessed with Trump that even if he's not directly available, he's always the white elephant in the room and we bring him in the picture. Okay. Quickly the question. With reference to Ethiopia and India-Ethiopia relations, consider the following statements. 1. Ethiopia is the headquarter of African Union and is considered a strategic anchor support state in the Horn of Africa. 2. Ethiopia was the pilot country, the main country for India Pan-Africa e-network project and sends one of the largest number of Africans to India. 3. Ethiopia's major economic engagement with India has been limited only to agriculture with no significant potential in mining or defense sectors. Which of these statements are correct? Saraswati and Priyamvada, an aspirant, have answered already. Which sectors are they going to implement? My dear aspirant, I told you, but yeah, which sectors are these? Pharmaceuticals, agro-processing, light manufacturing, mining, rare earth material. All these are now being investigated with India also to provide cheaper defense military equipment to Ethiopia. Apart from that, we are also having a long educational alignment with them. Who else has answered? Priyanshu, Rahul, aspirant, Anurag, Sumed, Eric, Ramu, Kojumba, yes, they have answered positively. Rishi, Rajnishwar, Pooja. Okay, so everyone says that the answer is A. Very, very good. That's why it is A, because the third statement is wrong. Yes, we are not only into agriculture. As Rahul explains, we are absolutely into defense, mining, education, pharmaceutical, light manufacturing, and mining, agro processing. All these are the sectors, right? So we are done with the main, most important big articles. There's a very small one now. Yes, correct. Yes, Anurag, that's a very smart observation. Yes, Rebina. Now, quickly, the last lengthy article for the day, and then I will give you a very interesting coverage on President versus Governor, the power to grant mercy in the case of a death sentence. That's what is the star article for the day. Let's quickly do this one in 1 minute. This is GS paper 3. GS paper 3 because we are looking at environment and ecology conservation. We are looking at methane emission. Now, long back, I don't know, when I was new to the platform here, I had made a video on, is rice the new charcoal? I don't know if all of you have seen that or not, because by then we had barely met and spoken to each other. If you get a chance, you can have a look at that. Why? Because today we believe that all the countries in the world that are growing a lot of rice, a lot of paddy, are also facing another constraint, and that's the constraint of methane emission. Now, methane emission, CH4, is much more dangerous. Methane, CH4, much more dangerous as a gas than carbon dioxide. And if it is existing in a great amount in the atmosphere, it can create not only severe health problems, but also it will definitely increase your greenhouse gas emission. And then what happens? Then what happens is that you can never achieve your target of becoming carbon neutral by 2070 in India by reducing your carbon emission or greenhouse gas emission by 45% of GDP, that's your nationally determined contribution by 2030, you will definitely fail on implementing your sustainable development goal because methane is very toxic. And there are satellite images which have shown that methane is more a problem. Although rice cultivation is a major problem. Why? Now you will ask why. Naturally, it's a good question because rice is always grown in a pool of water. To grow rice, to grow paddy, it's a kharif crop in India also. We all have seen the kharif crop controversy in Delhi and surrounding areas of Haryana, Punjab, UP, Rajasthan. Stubble burning. What stubble is that? Where is that stubble coming from? Paddy, rice. The stubble straw is very difficult. Paddy straw cannot be destroyed easily because Indian farmers don't have mechanical machines to do that. Yes, very good. Absolutely. Absolutely, Rahul. That's why we are telling the government, please give us minimum support price on pulses, on vegetable, on millets. Why are you only forcing the farmers to grow rice? West Bengal, the largest rice producing state in India. Yes, then there are many more. Biggest problem with rice is that it grows in a pool of water. When the pool of water is stagnant for too long a time, it is related to methane emission. So rice is definitely a reason responsible behind what? Behind lots of air pollution, lots of methane emission. Yes, like happy cedar, we can't afford that. Yes, so we do stubble burning. Priyambada, stubble is the leftover, the waste of the paddy straw. After you harvest, something is remaining behind, that is called stubble. Now farmers are burning it. They have no money to buy happy cedar, as aspirant is saying. That causes New Delhi pollution. Today there is another article in the Hindu. Delhi is very polluted right now. The pictures are showing that there is no visibility only. It's completely in a blanket of dust and smog. That's what happens when you do too much stubble burning, yes. But apart from rice, there is another problem. Now, this article talks about that another problem. What is that? That is called waste dumping and waste burning in India. Now, we all understand that India is a country with 1.4 billion people. We also know about 38% of us are already urbanized. Already urbanized, as per the WHO data. Unfortunately, when we are living in the urban areas, when we are living in a life that is full of vehicles, industries, factories, naturally we pollute. Naturally we consume more. Now you see what happened recently. When there was so much tariff burden from America, what did RBI say? RBI said nothing to worry because India's domestic demand and domestic consumption are very strong. But do we understand this domestic consumption is also coming at a cost? The more you consume, the more you waste also, no? The more I consume, the more I will waste. If I order 20 products every day, will I not waste more? Plastic, polythene, packaging, everything is getting wasted ultimately. What does that waste do? That waste is either piled up or it is taken care of by the municipal sector. In India, very little waste is recycled. Most of it is then tackled by informal sector employees. It is burnt very casually. Some of it is semi-burnt. Some of it is then discarded into rivers and wetlands. What happens then? It is a disgusting reaction. It leads to too much methane emission. And that's the problem right now. This article says apart from rice, apart from vehicle, a major area for concern has become waste in India. The more we consume, the more we waste. But our economy is based on domestic consumption. What to do? The only solution, as Rahul and Ramu say beautifully, is to create a circular economy, is to reduce, reuse and recycle. But is that being done? No, that's not being done. Majority of India's waste is tackled by informal sector workers, scavengers. They are also at risk and the waste is also getting completely dumped. We have dump sites. We have waste sites that are filthy, that create leakage of liquid called leachate problem, that also create burning of waste problem, adding up to the pollution. What is the main issue here? According to this article, 15% of India's methane emission is coming from waste sector, from the waste sector. And the landfills, what are landfills? Areas where you go and dump the waste. The landfills also catch fire very easily because all the waste is dumped there. How many Indians and how many cities in India have the sensibility that we should segregate the waste at source? Some big metro cities are doing, not all are doing. Sanitary waste and electronic waste, everything is dumped together. I told you long back, India has a great potential of reobtaining rare earth material, precious material back from electronic waste and car batteries. But do we do that? No. It is just burnt. Sometimes people who are collecting the waste are also getting injured in the process. It is dangerous. It's very volatile. It's very inflammable. What happens? It catches fire. And when it catches fire, it is 84 times more dangerous than carbon dioxide. Please listen to this. 84 times more dangerous than carbon dioxide pollution. Do you look at that? Very good, Bulbul. Yes. We don't have a proper protocol for that, Pooja. Correct. Yes, very good, Ramu. There are so many repercussions of this pathogen. True. And the major one being 84 times more pollution than carbon dioxide. It is produced by decomposing of organic waste in the landfills, in the dump site areas. Just like natural gas gets produced when you dump all the organic waste alongside electronic and sanitary waste, neither can you reuse it. You can't reuse it now. It's dirty already. You can't make a manure out of that. You can't make any sensible product out of that. It just lies, it decays, creating methane that's 84 times more dangerous. And the article tells you a data. It says about 15% of India's methane emission is coming from the waste sector. And unlike agriculture and energy, waste management has to be completely, quickly taken care of. We need a mitigation policy for that. There is in India a provision called Swachh Bharat Abhiyan plus Swachh Bharat Abhiyan's second version. health and well-being vertical. 2015, 2021, we have that. But that has not been sufficient in controlling India's waste problem. There are big challenges in measuring the amount of methane that we are creating. Why? The data that we are using is outdated. Majority of data that is used to calculate methane emission comes from 2018. That's the waste data that we have. It is outdated. Data is often aggregated. It's completely inaccurate in countries like India. We do not have the technical capacity to measure which sites in India, which dump site, like Bulbul was talking about the Ghaziabad site. Similarly, there are many such sites in India, open landfills, dirt areas. We don't have any mechanism to do in situ measurement, in situ on-site measurement of which dump areas are creating the maximum methane production. If we have to do that on the ground, we need skilled equipment, which is very expensive. In India, there is too much waste. It's tough to measure that. Is there a solution to measure that? There is. It is called satellite mapping. Through satellite technology from above, we can get a picture of how much methane emission are we doing and how to control that systematically. There are two types of satellite data that we use. One is regional monitoring. One is high resolution detector. Regional monitoring means you just create a picture and then you understand all over in India how much methane is getting emitted and how frequently. Then there is a more specific one, high resolution imagery. Through that, you can exactly pinpoint which landfill or which dump site is creating maximum amount of waste. But in India, we are using ISRO technology by 2023 satellite data mapping to show how much human oriented and waste methane emission is being conducted. There are certain problematic areas found out. One is Pirana in Ahmedabad. That's creating a lot of methane production. Another, Deonar and Kanjurmarg in Mumbai. Now, these could be excellent case studies. Very good, Ram. Absolutely. Very valid points raised by you, my dear. Medical waste, very harmful. Yes, very harmful. So true, Kojumba. Very harmful. Yeah, very good. So now, as per satellite data, we have found two case studies. One is Pirana, Ahmedabad. The other is Deonar and Kanjur Marg in Mumbai. They have done so much methane production that the National Green Tribunal has had to order a ground level investigation. Then there are many more. As Bulbul mentioned recently, in Delhi, there are two major landfills that create so much methane as we cannot even measure to entire cities waste segregation or waste estimate. Then you have the Kanjur Marg, as I mentioned, and Pirana, Ghaziabad, Sahibabad. All these are major landfills in India. As per 2018 emission data, they create too much methane pollution. And there are then many more hidden risks behind that, such as leakages happening. We think we have data. In reality, we don't even know the real amount of methane production. We don't cover all the waste site in this estimation. There are systemic failures when it comes to implementing the cleaning and proper disposal of this waste. At the same time, there is no separate protocol for medical and electronic waste either. So on paper, we talk about a circular economy. Reuse, recycle, and then reduce your waste. But in reality, that's not happening. And wherever you have more industrialization, you have major dump sites of electronic waste that keep catching fire and keep creating more methane. Now, only if we are smart enough and we can use this methane for a better purpose, then what can happen? The same methane that is now causing toxicity of the environment, 84 times more than carbon dioxide as per this article, can be used as a resource in bio CNG plant. A very good case study can be Madhya Pradesh. Indor's bio CNG plant called Plant Under Gobardhan Scheme. Under Gobardhan Scheme, what they are doing? They are collecting all the cow dung and all the waste, and then it is just utilized to manufacture methane that is used as a biofuel. That is a very good alternative. That is a move towards renewable energy. But in reality, we are not capturing that. All the waste sites and dump landfill sites are just simply throwing that methane in the air. Integrated satellite ground monitoring can create a better waste management. It can become a climate solution by giving us a ready to use fuel. But for that, we need better data, better implementation. We need a much better on ground investigation with a combination of satellite data, and we lack that today. We don't even know how many waste sites are creating how much methane. And until we have a clear picture, how can we utilize that? Just like Indore has done under Gobardhan scheme. Okay? So Swachh Bharat is there, Gobardhan scheme is there, but there is so much more we can do. Yes, that is true. Okay, I understand that, Eric. That's a valid sentiment. Yes, that's a valid sentiment. True, true. That's a very logical sentiment. All citizens have to have some sentiment. Yes, yes, true. Gobardhan scheme, Godhan scheme, Chhattisgarh, all these are good initiatives. Quickly, the question now with reference to methane emission from landslides and their management, look at the following statements. One, methane is produced in landfill due to anaerobic decomposition of organic waste and is significantly more potent, strong than carbon dioxide in short term. Two, satellite based methane monitoring can help in identifying specific landfill spots and has already been used in India to highlight major dump sites for regulatory action. For example, the one that we spoke about from Maharashtra. Then third, existing national programs such as Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and Gobardhan scheme provide policy support for reducing methane emission from waste sector. Which of these are valid statements? Started from aspirant Priyanshu Priyamvada, then Saurav, Sumed, Anup, Sumit, Saghamitra, Rabina, Pooja, Kojumba, Ramu. It's absolutely correct. D is the right answer. All three are valid statements. Undoubtedly well done. Now, two quick headlines and then one main discussion, and we are done. Let's finish it in 5 minutes exactly. Next one is coming from GS Paper 3, Science, Technology, Defense. What has happened? Indian Navy, now listen carefully, Indian Navy has decided to commission, exactly what? A helicopter called MH-60R helicopter. Yes, it has decided to commission its second round of order on MH-60R helicopter. Why will it be important? Because it will enhance the capacity of Indian Navy with advanced weapon, better sensors, better state-of-the-art avionics suit. All that is a part of that. It will also enable Navy to have a versatile, multi-role performance capacity. Yes, it will boost Indian Navy's aviation capacity strength in a major way. And that's why Navy has decided to do this order. And also please understand that the induction of this new helicopter fleet, MH-60R, will strengthen India's blue water capacity. What capacity? Blue water capacity. And deployment of these Seahawk helicopters in the Indian Ocean region will also improve India's strategic presence in the Indian Ocean. Yes? So now it was initiated last year from Kochi. It will be deployed in many more critical areas by Indian Navy. So that's the news. Just remember this one word. We will do it in the revision, weekly revision. Indian Navy is commissioning second squadron of MH-60R helicopter. Advanced avionic, much better multi-role capacity, advanced weaponry, sensors are very, very advanced. And where has it been commissioned? In INS Hansa in Goa. Where? INS Hansa in Goa. That was the correct answer there. Avin, Amit and Victor. That was correct. Now quickly the next one. Thailand and Cambodia. I know nobody will forget. None of my students will forget this. Who tried to mediate? Now everyone will be very happy. Fleet. It means a fleet. Priyambada. A set of. A fleet of. Now, yes, aspirant already answers. Very good aspirant. Thailand and Cambodia have an 817 long kilometers border between them. A border that is conflicted and hence they are fighting. They are fighting from the times of Frencho-Siamese agreement. There is no clarity on the border. It is a very, very uncertain border. Especially because of the Dangrek mountain and because of a temple that aspirant says is the Prai Vaihir temple. Who is mediating? My students' hot favorite, heartthrob President Trump is mediating. And finally, the mediation broke in between. But today, both the countries have decided to finally work towards ceasefire. And Thailand has therefore right now declared curfew. Curfew on its coast amid fight with Cambodia. So now Thailand has done what? It has imposed a curfew. They are saying before we can do a diplomatic solution, a strict curfew is important because fighting is erupting anytime intermittently, killing so many civilians for example, recently a 63-year-old villager had died from Thailand through a rocket attack from Colombia, and Thailand said this is the first civilian death. So to avoid these situations, we are doing this right now. Very, very good, Anurag. Mongolia and America are trying to create the mediation. That's it for the important articles. Now the last and the most important one. Quickly, I want you to revise this for GS paper 2. Now this everybody should focus more upon. GS paper 2. Policy and governance. Quickly, I need your attention for exactly 2 minutes. Please attend. Please focus. GS paper 2, policy governance. Yes, everybody is very excited. Now let's come out of President Trump. There is no outcome, Anurag. There is still a ceasefire and negotiations are going on. Yes, it is a matter of shame. Absolutely, sort of. There is no outcome. Let's come out of President Trump obsession for a second and please everybody focus quickly on the screen. What is happening? Indian President Ms. Draupadi Murmu has rejected, I repeat, she has rejected a mercy petition of an individual by the name of Ravi Ashok Ghumare, who has been convicted of kidnapping, eventually raping, and then killing a 2-year-old girl in Maharashtra in 2012. A convict under the POCSO Act 2012 under child abuse. Yes? He has filed a petition of mercy to President. But what did the President do? The President of India rejected this mercy petition. She has rejected it completely. This raises a question on the constitutional importance of the right of the President, the duty of the President regarding this episode. So let's quickly see under GS2, polity and governance, what are the constitutional provisions? So very, very well said, Rahul. It is indeed Article 72 of the Indian Constitution. I will ask a question on that in the monthly revision and weekly revision, but please focus. Article 72 of the Indian Constitution that deals with the power of the President to grant mercy. This power is a purely executive power. I repeat, it is a purely executive power. That means it can only be exercised or utilized on the aid, advice and discussion with the Council of Ministers under Article 74. So which two articles have we covered? 72, 74. 72, the power of the President to grant mercy to an individual convicted of death sentence or lifetime imprisonment. Article 74. But President will have to consult the Council of Ministers because this is a purely executive power. What are the various kinds of mercies? What are the various forms of mercy that Indian President can grant? One is pardon. Pardon means completely the President decides to forgive a person and cancel his or her sentence. Second is commutation. Commutation means the President will now substitute rather than giving a very strong. Yes, Rahul, we will talk about that. Right now, we are looking at the President. What are we looking at? President. What are we looking at? Okay, done. I will get pictures for everything. That's a good thing you've raised, Eric. I will get pictures for everything. Yes, illustration helps in remembering better. That's a valid point. And let's do that from tomorrow onwards. Thank you. Yes, Rahul, governor doesn't have better. That's what I'm saying. We will talk about governor first. Focus on the president first. Article 72, 74. 72, you know now. The power to grant mercy. Executive power only exercised in discussion with Council of Ministers. Next, what are the kinds of mercy? One is pardon. Completely forgive the sentence. Two, commutation. That means instead of a very tough punishment, a very harsh punishment, you are now giving a lighter punishment. For example, there is death sentence been given to a person. President has commuted it and made it not death but life imprisonment. Then remission. What is remission? That reduces the total period of sentence that a person has to suffer. It is reducing the duration of punishment. Respite. What is respite? Giving a lesser sentence due to special circumstance. Respite means some relief to somebody. Somebody who is pregnant. Somebody who is critically, chronically ill. You give them punishment but reduce the intensity of that punishment because of some emergency situation with that person. Then it's reprieve. What is reprieve? Reprieve means you have temporarily stopped. You have created a pause in the execution of a sentence. In the case of a death penalty, especially, it was in the news recently when an Indian nurse in a Middle Eastern country, Miss Nimisha, Indian nurse, Miss Nimisha, her sentence was also reprieved by a Middle Eastern country recently. Yes, so what happens in reprieve? You are giving a temporary pause to the execution of the sentence, which means, now I repeat last time, 72 is about President's power to give mercy, but in consultation with Council of Ministers. It's an executive power. Various forms of mercy are very clear. Pardon, commutation, remission, respite, reprieve. Now, the president also have the power to give mercy against various offences or crimes under union law, including court-martial sentences and death sentences. I repeat, this can be used in the cases of crimes under union law, court-martial and death sentences. But what about the governor of the state, as said by Rahul and Ramu? What about the governor of the state, the executive authority at the state level? So, a state governor has the power of mercy under Article 161. So, which articles have we covered today? 72, 74. Finally, I'm covering Article 161. When I was talking to you about the power of the president and governor, I had discussed Article 200, Article 201. Today, we are looking at 72, 74, 161. A governor has the power under 161 article, and it is applicable in the case of offences, crimes with regards to state laws. But the governor cannot grant a full pardon for a death sentence, even if the crime is against the law under state government. Even if the crime is under an act of the state government, jurisdiction of the state government, the governor cannot give full pardon in a death sentence. Then a governor cannot have any power in the case of court martial. The governor has no power in the case of court-martial sentences. Then the governor can although suspend, remit or commute a death sentence, such as from death penalty to a life imprisonment, but no power of absolute pardon, no power in the case of court-martials. I hope it's clear to everyone now. Is it clear? Yes, good behavior in jail. Very good. That's correct. The Calcutta doctor case also. Yes, the Nirbhaya case also. Very good. It's a very worthy thing she has done, Anurag. I so respect that. What are the limitations? Yes, there are limitations. Limitations are there because you have to listen to the Council of Ministers. Under Article 74, it's an executive power. It's not an absolute power. It's not a discretionary power. Is that clear? Yes? Is it clear to everyone? So I will repeat this very soon. Article 72, 74 and Article 161. What's the difference between president and governor when it comes to the power of giving mercy? So you need to, for your UPSC exam, even the mains exam, know all these 5 forms of mercy. All these that we discussed. Understand it is allowed in the case of court martial when a military person is removed from duty. If you remember, we had spoken about the Kamlesan case. Yes? Whenever a military person is dismissed from duty, that's court martial. Now, the president can give a mercy in the case of a court martial sentence, but a governor cannot do that. Okay, the governor cannot do that. So that's it now, the last question, and we are done for the day. With reference to President of India, consider the following statements with regards to the power of mercy. 1. The president can give pardon, commutation, remission, reprieve, and respite in cases involving offences under union laws. Second, the president's power to grant mercy is entirely independent and not subject to the advice of Council of Ministers. 3. The president can exercise this power in the case of death sentence awarded by court martial or under a state law. So which of these are correct? It's an easy question. Started from Saraswati. Sole purpose of the constitution. Very good. Instead of just what's written. So now what Anurag is saying also resonates with something that Ramu has said repeatedly. Constitutional morality comes in the picture here, according to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Very good. So answers are coming from Saraswati, aspirant, Priyanshu, Priyamvada, Saurav, Sankhamitra, Urupam, Ramu, Sumit, Blessy, Anup. Yes. Yes, some confusion I can see, but the answer will be C. First is correct, third is correct, second is not correct. No. Second is absolutely opposite of Article 74. Under Article 74, the President has to consult and abide by the Council of Ministers. There is a limitation to President's power. It's an executive authority after all. Very good, Kojumba. Is that clear now? Is that clear to everyone, Bulbul? Yes, Anup? Eric? Is it clear or not? Second cannot be correct. No, second cannot be correct. Second cannot be correct. President cannot exercise unlimited independent power. He is subject to Council of Ministers. And court martial, a governor cannot. A governor cannot pardon a sentence from court martial. A president can do that. President can do that. That's so sweet of you, Avinash. You're most welcome. It's not a discretion. Very, very good. Thanks for explaining, Rahul. So that's the answer. Now, the last one is about New Delhi is choking in pollution, but that we can discuss some other day. Nothing urgent here. I'll take your leave. The time is already quite up. Thank you for your response. Very good, Pooja Kojumba. Very good, Avinash, Amit. Anup, Priyamvada, Sanghamitra, very good. So I'll take your leave for today. Do remember, for those who are writing prelims next year, this is one of the last chance. It's a limited period offer at a price of 5,400 only, 5,499 only. We are offering you complete aggressive training for prelims. That's May 24-26. So those who are preparing, a great opportunity. Use Plive, and then I can join you formally for CSAT, for current affairs, and all our best of faculties will enable you prepare for the prelims, give you repeated tests, revision exercises, and then ensure that you get selected in the prelims. So remember, limited time offer, codes live, but great offers for 27 and 28 also. Reasonable prices. You can use codes live and enroll for the same. In case you're writing in 27 also, it's a good offer because prices are very, very low right now. It's almost like a New Year celebration that we are having. Okay, then I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, that's Tuesday. Thank you so much for being with me, for making the interaction so fruitful and interactive and helpful to each other. Let's keep growing as a community. Let us keep on exchanging these wonderful ideas, and that will be done tomorrow, aspirant. I ran into a technical glitch, bacha, today, and I remember about your essay. I'll always remember. Every word you say is valuable to me, all of you. So see you, aspirant Kochumba, Eric, Priyamvada, Ramu, Bulbul, Pooja, Sumit. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody, then. I'll see you tomorrow. Anup, Rahul, Saurav, Anurag, Avinash, and Amit, Sumedh, Eric, Victor, Aspirant, Blessy, Priyamvada, Priyanshu, Malvika, Helish, Saurav, Rabina. Anybody else who was with me? I think I'm done with most of you. Rabina, Pooja, Kojumba, Rahul, Avinash, Sanghamitra, who else? Rishi, of course, was there. Rishi, Rajneeshwar, codename fantastic. Prasad was here, of course. Prasad is there. So that's it, I believe. And all others whom I have missed upon. Bye-bye, everyone. Yes, Victor, I saw